all going to come at this from the angle of one discipline is our art and the other discipline is something complementary to the art or something complementary to the skills that we employ to create art. And doesn't that other thing that is complementary, whatever it is, need to be that which teaches us to validate ourselves, because it doesn't necessarily equate to our identity as artists, or it doesn't necessarily equate to our identity insofar as our identity is determined by our ego and the reinforcement that our ego gets from being creatives, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's incredibly important just to make the point that, yes, it can be any other discipline as long as that discipline is teaching you how to validate yourself and teaching you how to see that you can bring an idea to its completion or bring a task to its completion without it affecting your ego. Like, you don't need to go into every single task, every single project, every single thought, every single motion in your life with the idea that it has to define you, or with the idea that it has to gain clout, or with the idea that it has to be a lasting part of your legacy.
I think identification is a killer. Like, it's such like a, oh man, for me, I think I've said this before with you, Joel, I'm sorry, but like, I'm playing folk music, I'm playing punk music, I'm playing rock music. Oh no, how do I please the rock people with my folk music? How do I please the folk music with my rock? Am I a rock person? Am I a folk person? Like, to just get wrapped up in the freaking identity of it all is you know, heavy word, disabling. You know, it's just like immobilizing is the better word.
Yeah.
It's like totally doesn't help all the time. So, but at the same time, helping yourself identify as a positive person or a person who's capable, this is important too.
There's like that implicit belief that like anyone knows what the hell they're doing too. Like, a lot of that I think is built on, at least for me, it had always been built on that like I never would like say it explicitly, but just that feeling that other people know what the hell to do with life, with whatever discipline, whatever task, and I'm somehow catching up. Like, I always had that feeling of like I'm just always playing catch up with everything. And then it kind of like dawned on me at a certain point, like I still have that feeling, and that's whatever response to whatever stimulus at some point in my life. But like, no one knows what the hell they're doing. Like, it was so liberating to kind of start thinking that way. And there's still a long way to go with that. But like, it's just, as soon as that idea started kicking around, I was like, I forget what it was that made me really see it plainly, but it was just like, Jesus Christ, we're all just running around. Like, no one knows what the hell they're doing. There's no plan, no objective. Like, this is sick.
You're making me think of like Terrence McKenna has this bit where Terrence McKenna says a lot of people spend most of their lives, and I think this is very relevant to our country and to you know, people have a lot of problems with authority and who has the truth and who's giving out the truth and who's lying, and authority and government and blah blah blah. Terrence was talking about how a lot of people spend their lives wondering, you know, who's in charge. Is it the Communist Party? Is it the corporations? Is it religion? Is it the Jewish people? Is it the Christians? Is it scientists? Is it the aliens? He said the truth is more terrifying than anything you could imagine, and the truth is that no one is in control. And it's just like so dead on that you definitely have to do what you're very good at and nurture that as best you can with doing other things you're good at, and also not only that, but watching people who are good at other things that have nothing to do with what you're good at. Like I used to go and see like arena cross when I was a kid, and I was like, these guys are killing it, it's amazing, and it's so much fun. But I never wanted to motocross ever. Like, I didn't want to do it. I watch like Olympic, what's the Olympic sport I always end up watching? Curling. What the hell, you know? Just like watching people who are really good at what they do. It's a nice thing to be able to do.
That's become one of my favorite things about humanity as a whole. It's just how like we'll invent some just bullshit exercise to do and then quantify the hell out of it and then figure out who's going to be the absolute best at it, develop all these techniques for becoming the best at it. Like I saw cornhole on ESPN. I was flipping through.
You what?
I think it was over the summer. I was just flipping through the TV and it said like the National Cornhole Championships, and I was like, "What in the hell?" And I clicked on it. And I was absolutely enraptured by this. Like I was watching this thing for like a half an hour straight, which for a sporting event is a long time for me. But I was just sitting there and like it was just cornhole, like you would have in your yard.
Wow.
Except people looked incredibly serious about it. They had jerseys. There was a technique. The commentators honestly sounded like they were winging it, but they had terminology. They had like, oh no, see, he used that sidearm thing into the underhand, and then he was.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, it is throwing a fucking beanbag into a hole in a piece of wood. That's all it is, and it's something we do at cookouts. But now we've got people who are the best at it, and there's money involved, and I just love that. Like it's honestly the funniest thing, but also just kind of cool that like there's this weird mass creativity that we have about like sort of turning boredom into something, and that's just kind of neat.
I think like that's basketball, dude. Like basketball is put the thing in the fruit bucket, like, and then but then we're gonna hang the fruit bucket up there, and then I think the Mayans or some people found it out before, and some version of that, put getting thing in a high basket, but that's basketball. And then talking about pushing the art in basketball, like Steph Curry popularized just whipping threes and just like draining them every single time you go for them. And the amount of people who go for threes, like I saw this brilliant chart of like the half court, and it was a chart of every point scored from like the 50s. And the points go farther and farther and farther and farther. And so like the sport is being pushed so that nearly every goddamn ball is thrown as a three. So we're talking about pushing art. Like, geez, how much harder are you going to push art? People have been pushing rock climbing grades too. People have been like, the highest grade was this, and now the highest grade is this, and now the highest grade is that. So I think the best thing we can do with our art and with any art is to like redefine it and do it in our own way and the way that people don't expect. And that's like the most challenging art.